let's go, we're live. On the live. This is just for channeling and seeing some correlation between DEXI and gold. To do that, all we have to do is let's say session. So we go LSE, London Open. So at 10 minutes. So London opens in 10 minutes. I'll come back after 10 minutes and I'll mark some chart. If we look at the pre-market, we can see some reaction in this zone over here. I actually take a trade like over here with this reaction to it, and also BO up. As you can see, BO up retest like way over here. I actually took that trade, but I couldn't hold it like from here to basically. That's kind of it. And what was this is like the daily open, like way over here, and that was the gap it filed. So I think we could go long from here if you will, like here. And let me just do MT5. MT5 is stupid. MT5, bro. What was this? Let me just pin it first. Stupid fucks. Okay. So that was the long idea, and stop should be right over here somewhere, right? Or it could be a fucking range. Then to the NTB should be like this here, and then we just modify it to our likings. And lot sizes on us are gonna be like 0.01. Okay, this is some reaction. If we could hold it, let me just see. Yeah, this high is okay. I'm gonna stop this trade. I'm gonna stop it because, like, what? This is. All I wanted is like pop back in, like just go straight to it, not like do little things like it did. It could go, but I'm out. I don't want to risk my money on this, so I'm out. Okay, this is the correlation DXY. If DXY is down, gold is gonna have. Oh shit! Should have stayed in the trade, stupid fucks. Whatever. Let me just come back and just London Open. Oh shit! I should have. We should have hold it. Okay, what? Like whenever you comes in and you see a fucking trade and you want to take it, sometimes it's really bad idea and you have to wait for it. If we were to hold this trade, would have liquidated like over here. I actually never give the trade room that much to hit this hassle. Whatever, I just close early because sometimes it could be wrong. Ta, ta, ta, da, da, da. What is this? Let me just check my stream if everything is working or not here. Oh, Trump's speaking right now? Fuck. Market's gonna react to it, that's for sure.
It's almost over, though.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You promised the Iranian people you would help them, but it sounds like you're willing to end this fight after your military objectives have wrapped up. Isn't that a betrayal of the people?
Will I help them? I'd like to, if they can behave. But they've been very menacing. You know, they're great people. They have an amazing population. It's amazing, smart, brilliant, energetic. They have a great, I'd love to help them, but they have to be in a system that allows them to be helped. If they can behave. And right now they're in a system that only allows failure. You know, they're great people. And they have an amazing, and I want a system that's not going to be attacking us. We want a system that can lead to many years of peace. And if we can't have that, we might as well get it over with right now. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, as of today, there have been 8 U.S. military fatalities associated with the war in Iran. How many American deaths are you willing to have in this war?
Well, as I said before, when you have conflict, it's been a very big 2 days, I have to say. And we'll be heading back to Washington, D.C. right after this. And I'd like to wish everyone a very good evening. And over the weekend, the United States military and the Israeli Defense Forces continued Operation Epic Fury very successfully. Over the past 9 days, we've carried out some of the most powerful and complex military strikes and maneuvers the world has ever seen. Now, you add that up to all of the other things, Midnight Hammer, getting rid of the nuclear threat from Iran, which was a big moment in history, in my opinion, and the great success we've had in Venezuela and all other places. Every place we've gone, we've had tremendous success. But while we're doing all of these things, we're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of the sea. It's almost 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing's been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets, and we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it. If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to. But they're the kind of things that are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in one day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers and 83% drop in drone launchers. As you know, the drone launchers are are pretty well shot, but we're at over 90% decline in the Iranian missile launchers, which is very hard to reproduce and very hard to get. And usually what we were able to do through great equipment, a lot of smart people, as soon as they sent a missile up from a launcher, we were able to knock out that launcher within a period of 5 minutes or less, accurately, right on the noggin. So now we have low-cost interceptors effectively combating Iranian drones, and our B-2 bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound bombs to destroy missile launchers all over Iran and buried deep under Iranian soil in many cases. The soil was no match. And we're also annihilating the manufacturing base that the regime uses to build drones and missiles at a rate that nobody thought was possible. We're knocking them out. We know where they all are. We're knocking them out very quickly. We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe 3 times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with the situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years, whether it's the barracks or even the SS Cole where they were involved. Very strongly, they always denied it. But where they were very strongly involved, and all of the people that died through the roadside bombs died and are right now walking around with no legs, no arms, a face that's been so badly damaged. The Iranian regime has been attacking Americans and spreading terror for 47 years, and despite these countless opportunities to renounce their nuclear ambitions, which they had just a short while ago, they told Mr. Witkoff, who is standing right over here, they said, they actually said, we want to keep building. Essentially, in a real nutshell, we want to continue to build nuclear weapons. If we didn't knock out Midnight Hammer, if we didn't knock out their Iranian potential, if we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now. And at a minimum, Israel would have been annihilated. I was very lucky that we had the courage to do that, that we had the talented pilots and the great equipment. The B-2 bombers are unbelievable. We ordered 25 more, by the way. The newer, better version. It's we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world by far. You see that no matter where we go. You still need the people, though, to operate it and to use it. And those are the people that we cherish. Even after we obliterated their key nuclear sites in Operation Midnight Hammer, they never negotiated in good faith. They still continued to say, we want to build nuclear, we want enrichment at levels that were unacceptable. And they even turned down an offer for unlimited free nuclear fuel forever for civilian purposes. We had people offering them free nuclear fuel. They weren't interested in that because they wanted to build a nuclear weapon. So instead, the regime was trying to reconstitute its weapons program at a different site. They couldn't go back to where they were, the 3 sites that we obliterated, but they were starting work at another site, a different site, different kind of a site, and that was protected by granite. They wanted it protected. Granite's pretty good, but they wanted it protected by a lot deeper. They wanted to go a lot deeper, and they started the process while rapidly building conventional ballistic missiles. They were going to do it all at the same time. It threatened our overseas bases and soon could have reached even our homeland. The regime's intention was to use this exponentially growing ballistic missile threat to make it virtually impossible to prevent them from obtaining a nuclear weapon. So as you probably saw, they had a tremendous number of missiles, most of which are now being used or destroyed, and very unsuccessfully used because we have been able, for the most part, to shoot them all down. What incredible technology. The Patriots have been unbelievable, and other things.
Stupid range, 'cause, you know,
And the laser technology that we have now is incredible. It's coming out pretty soon. Where literally lasers will do the work of, at a lot less cost, do the work of what the Patriots are doing or what other things are doing. The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return. And the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco, so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would, if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And if you notice, they did something which was very foolish, very stupid, I would say. They attacked their neighbors. And their neighbors were largely neutral, or at least weren't going to be involved, and they got attacked. And it had the reverse effect. The neighbors came onto our side and started attacking them, and actually quite successfully. If you look at Saudi Arabia, you look at UAE, Qatar, and others. But they were strong and they were smart, but they got attacked. Nobody, when I first heard it, I said, no, somebody made a mistake. There was no mistake. UAE had over 1,000 missiles shot at it, knocked them almost all down. On the very first day I came down the escalator in 2015, I said, quote, I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And all I'm doing is keeping my promise. Think of that. That was in 2015. I said it. It was a threat then and a much bigger threat now, but no longer a threat, not for a long time anyway. We want to keep it that way. As we continue Operation Epic Fury, we're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world. And I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level. I will take out those targets that were easy and that I mentioned just before. We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever. If they want to play that game, they better not play that game. In the long run, oil supplies will be dramatically more secure without the threat of Iranian ships, drones, missiles, nuclear menace, or anything. So the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain safe. We have a lot of Navy ships there. We have the best equipment in the world, inspecting for mines. Again, most of their ships are down at the bottom of the sea, but we will hit them so hard that it will not be possible for them or anybody else helping them to ever recover that section of the world if they do anything. In recent years, the regime and its terror proxies have launched attacks on hundreds of commercial vessels. We're putting an end to all of this threat once and for all, and the result will be lower oil prices, oil and gas prices for American families. We've done that. We've done it. We brought it very low. This was just an excursion into something that had to be done. We're getting very close to finishing that, too. In the meantime, during this brief disruption, the United States is offering political risk insurance to any tankers operating in the Gulf. So we're putting up risk insurance. We'll perhaps go alongside of them for protection. We don't think it'll be necessary if it is. And if they do anything, the price will be incalculable. It will be so great that they will have wished they never did it, because you have to keep the straits flowing. With all of that, it affects other countries much more than it does the United States. It doesn't really affect us. We have so much oil. We have tremendous oil and gas, much more than we need. We have Venezuela now as our new partner, great partner. They've worked out so wonderful. We're working with the administration, the president, and it's a massive source of oil, gas, everything. But we're in a very good position, but very unfair to other parts of the world, like China as an example. I mean, we're doing this for the other parts of the world, including countries like China. They get a lot of their oil through the straits. So we're doing this. We have a very good relationship with President Xi in China. I'm going there in a short period of time. Position, and we're protecting very unfair to other parts of the world, like China as an example. I mean, we're doing this for the other parts of the world, including countries like China. They get a lot of their oil through the straits. So we're
We're like stuck in this stupid range. Da, da, da, da, da, da. Let's put an alert here. Okay. And also alert here. So this is like the 50% going up. Let's see. You could actually take a trade like here. Stop here. To 1 to 1. This is a good setup, if you will. Da, da, da, da, da, da, da. So we see some sort of divergence. The DXY is going up and dollars also going up. So this is bad. DXY is taking this high. So let's do. Okay, let's wait. Okay, we did take this. Now we need to close bullish on here, right? Then we might look for an opportunity, or you could just go in the breakout. Oh, look at this! Look at this! Stupid fuck! Immediately, this is the FOMO in. This is like FOMO, fear of missing out, and we did this immediately. Like our entry, like what, like here. Stop. Let's say here. Okay, let's say we liquidated. This, okay, this is gonna be a range bound thing. So what, like $5 loss? I didn't like this price action for today. I say you should always wait for retest then go. Okay, let's sell actually. Let's take a sell. While we sell, we think like the liquidity has been swiped out. All those buyers are trapped, so we'll take a short and let's see how it goes. Stop should be right over here. And uh, stop should be here. TP should be in this 50% range. At $9. $9. Let's see. And another thing we could have is this. So it does give you like automatically the stop. Let's do like 2% and 2%. So like $4 or $5 lost. This is like 30, so let's do like fucking 0.5. That's $15. Oh, okay, that's good. So we wanna take this high, low, then we might gonna get a breakout. Yeah. Okay, we could just say short. So did we take this low? Yeah. And we're stuck in between in 50%. So let's take maybe we should turn off the risk portfolio. Like we could go in and reduce our risk and go break even. Let's see. At least like here. So you wanna trail it. Oh, this is bad actually. Oh no, this is good. This is good. Okay. I misclicked. Okay, so we did break even like this loss. It doesn't matter. It's all about taking a setup and waiting for it. Why we close it? It is kind of mini version, if you will. Like in here, this is the range liquidity swept up, like 5 minute range. Then we want further down. So let's look at 15 minutes, and so our 15 minutes range is almost here. And if you just measure the range, it'll just give you what 18. If it is like 40 or 45, then we would have like hold the trade for longer. And we did see some view up action. And this is like standard deviation one. Whenever it comes in, its price try to create some sort of reaction to it. So that's why we're waiting for it. Da, da, da, da, da, da, da, da, da. Okay, what am I gonna watch?
This before entering. I mean, you can, if you want to get this trade, yeah, for me personally,
Who's this guy? MGC Microvolt Trader. Right. Okay, he's watching. Okay. So this is like the range. So you the DEX is also up. So this is the correlation we were talking about earlier. If DEX is up, gold should be down, right? Dollars up, gold down. And let's see the vice versa if it is wrong. And we did see some reaction in the range low right? If we pinpoint this, so all you wanna see is some sort of engulfing actions. And what was the intraday volume if you look at this? Stupid. So we're kind of outside, and this is like what? This is like still bearish in terms of volume profile. There's some cluster. Some volume is gonna come up over here. So this is the accumulation. Now you want to see some manipulation, and in New York we might see some distribution. Okay. Is there any news available? Forex factory. What the fuck is this? Let me check. Yes. So which one is this? Okay. So let's go calendar. What day is 24? So that means here. So euro. It's like fucking 2 p.m. What unit trade? Oh, we just hold it. That would have been a huge profit. There's PMI some sort. So in USD, yeah. So PMI flash service PMI. What the fuck is that supposed to be? So what? 56 previous 51. So that was what, red, green, and that was okay. Whatever. So I didn't have to taking care of this new stuff. So we see some breakout to the downside in the range. And if you look at the 15, yeah. Okay. Fair value is formed. So
All right, we're currently up 12-ish 14 points.
Looks good so far. Bounce off daily open.
Let's see. Marv says, Habibi. Habibi what?
PPX trades. Hey, Celine, I was in the short with you from 24480. Just closed it with $1,900 in profit. Let's go, guys. And that's big W's to any of you guys who took that trade as well. Against all odds, we managed to take TP on that, so that was nice. Goated stop loss.
For real. Actually, I'll pull one target down to 450. Let's see.
Diddy Data. What is that?
Diddy
username?
Data 7679.
What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday morning for you guys. Hope everyone's having a fun time in the markets. You know, something that I was thinking about that always makes me laugh about trading. Everyone always thinks the difference between good traders and bad traders is that good traders are just right all the time. Like some guys out here who just wakes up every morning, opens his laptop up, looks at a chart for 30 seconds and goes, yep, market's going up today, clicks buy, makes $1 million, closes the laptop, goes golfing and in his Lambo. And that's, look, I don't know if you guys are on TikTok or some of these YouTube shorts with some of these influencers, some of these Miami guys, you know, with the Lambos. One guy just bought a Maybach, however you say it, right? Like, that's what they paint it as. That's not reality, but that's what they paint it as. This is how people imagine trading works at the end of, like, it's some kind of wizardry. Like I have a crystal ball. Like, professional traders are just psychic at the end of the day. But I'm here to tell you, the reality is it's way less sexy. It might be, like, I think that's probably like the lifestyle that a lot of course sellers live when they're getting people to pay them $7,000, you know, for a course. But most professional traders, and myself included, I'm wrong all the time. Not only am I wrong all the time, but I'm right and still lose money, which is the complete mindfuck. Constantly wrong. We just try to not be catastrophically wrong. At the end of the day, like, I'm wrong. You know, we'll get into this a little bit later, but I'm having a rough couple of weeks. But I'm just trying not to blow up when I'm wrong. That's the entire job at the end of the day. And I know it sounds cliche, but man, I always say that, like, it sounds cliche, but they're cliche for a reason. And I say that too, because it's true. You know, people ask me, like, all the time, like, hey man, what do you do when you have a bad week? Or how do you handle drawdowns? And my response is always like, I know what I used to do, and I could answer that. Like, I know what I used to do. I used to double down, and then pretty soon that account was at zero. That's what I used to do when I started. But what do you mean? Do you mean like a normal week? Because bad weeks happen. Rough weeks happen in these markets. Markets don't change. Volatility shifts. The regime changes. Setups don't trigger. Traps fail. That's just part of trading. We're trading in an uncertain environment. Well, no one's certain if prices can go up or down. And if you think that's the game, you're going to find out either by me just saying these words out of my mouth or yourself that that's not how it works. I think the difference between good traders and bad traders isn't who avoids bad weeks. You're going to have bad weeks. Everyone's going to have bad weeks. So I always say, be wary of the trader who never shows losses or never talks about losses or never has honest conversations about them. It's who survives them. That's the more important part, the more impressive part. Bad traders blow up during bad weeks. Good traders just shrug and go eat lunch because the losses, they should be controlled. And we all know this. You guys hear me rant about this all the time. You guys hear me talk about 1% risk and survive and don't double down. But I think a lot of times people, and myself, the old me included, would just kind of nod along, but then go back to gambling. But the losses need to be controlled. The risk needs to be controlled. The worst case scenario was already planned for. Where do my stop losses go? Where I'm wrong. And that's it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I lose 1% or 2% depending on the trade. That's it. And that's a part of trading that nobody on the internet wants to talk about because it's unbelievably boring. No, I don't go viral talking like I talk. And it's okay. I don't. But here's who I do attract. People who want to take this seriously. And I know that I could go viral. I could go buy a Lambo. I could. It'd be irresponsible of me. It's a stupid waste of money. I could sit in there and film and I could show my, $1 million. I could do all that shit. This stuff doesn't go viral, but this is the stuff that makes traders. It's nobody goes viral when they say, today I manage my downside risk responsibly. Nobody clicks that video. All right. Most people aren't going to click this video. Most people are already tuned out by now. Everyone wants a story where someone turned $300 into a Lambo in 3 weeks. That's the story that people want at the end of the day. Which, by the way, if you see that on Twitter or YouTube or TikTok, the odds of it being real are about as the same as a guy in Vegas telling you that he has a guaranteed roulette system. You ever notice that? Every losing trader eventually becomes a gambling theorist. They always start talking like a guy who has been awake at a blackjack table for 36 hours straight. You don't understand, bro. The key is Fibonacci spiral inside a Bollinger Band, fair value gap, upside down, inverse. You know what I mean? Around the lunar cycle. All right, buddy, maybe just size your trade smaller. But people don't want to hear that. They don't. And I understand it. I get it, right? I get it. I understand the picture that these influencers paint for you. And I understand the goal and the want. And I understand not wanting to be a wage slave. I understand all that stuff. But if that's what you're chasing, you're going to have a tough time in these markets. People don't want to hear that. They don't, because it's boring. Discipline's boring. Risk management's boring. Waiting is boring. Trading is boring. It is. It is one of the most boring things that I've ever done in my life. And the truth is most traders aren't actually trying to build a system. They're just trying to avoid boredom. The market becomes entertainment. It's like Netflix for gamblers. Does this sound familiar? Think about it. I mean, ask yourself, like, what are you really doing here? I had to have that conversation with myself at a point because I was gambling. Everything that I'm telling you is who I was, right? Just charts moving around, dopamine hitting every 5 seconds. I always need to be in a trade. And you see it all the time with new traders. And I saw it in myself. They'll blow a small account and they're just going to shrug it off at the end of the day. It's only $200. It's only $300. And then they reload and then they gamble again and they say it doesn't matter. But here's the problem. They're not just losing money. At the end of the day, they're training their brain and their bad habits. They're building habits and they ain't the good ones. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a $200 account and a $2,000, $200,000, $2 million account. At the end of the day, your brain just learns behavior. Sizing, revenge trading, ignoring stop losses, not using stop losses, chasing candles. All those little habits just get wired in and they compound. And then one day they finally get access to real capital. Maybe they save money. Maybe they pass a prop firm challenge. Maybe they finally get a decent account. And guess what shows up? Maybe not right away. Maybe not the first few couple trades, but that exact same behavior. It has a way of just coming back and poking its head in. Because habits scale faster than capital at the end of the day. You don't suddenly become disciplined when the account gets bigger. You become a bigger version of that same trader. You know, we had this conversation in Discord the other day. It wasn't even about trading. It was about, someone who was like, all billionaires are evil. I don't know if that's the case. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know that to be a fact, right? But like, are all millionaires evil? Are all 100,000aires evil? I think money just amplifies who you already are. If you're already a shitty trader, if you already have a bunch of bad habits, and if someone gives you a bunch of money, you're just going to lose it. It's the same reason that I think it's like 70% of lottery winners go broke within the first 3 years, and then it just exponentially grows after that, right? 80% of NBA players go broke within 5 years of the NBA. You just become a bigger version of your same self, right? So in trading, you just become a bigger version of the same trader. If you trade a $300 account like you're at a casino, you're going to trade a $300,000 account like you're at the casino. It's not going to change. It's just bigger consequences at the end of the day. And I've been there. I've blown small accounts. And you know what I thought my issue was? Size. Because I said to myself, well, I'm just not treating this $300 like I would treat $100,000 or $200,000 or $10,000. I didn't go from $100 to $100,000, but I was like, you know what? It's probably the money because it doesn't feel real. $10 loss, $20, $50, it doesn't mean anything to me. It didn't mean anything to me. So I was like, maybe I need to make it mean something. You ever thought this way? Maybe you haven't, right? Maybe I'm foreshadowing a problem that you might face down the line. But here's what I did. I told myself that. I loaded up the account with more money and I lost it. I've blown up accounts, baby. I've blown up lots of accounts, right? It's the same psychology, just bigger consequences. And that ties into another thing that I think traders mess up on early on. When someone is trying to copy someone else's edge, and you see this all the time. It's probably one of the more common things because you don't know at the beginning. And I think at the beginning it's okay. I do. I think you have to because you don't know any different. But everyone's trying to copy someone else's system or strategy or edge. And look, most of the time it's just from influencers. They don't have any skin in the game, right? I see it all over TikTok. Like these 18-year-olds, like even fitness influencers now are shifting to being trading influencers. Like what? Just a week ago you were telling me to eat healthy and lift weights, and then in a week you're a profitable trader now, and then people will just jump. They'll jump from strategy to strategy, like they're speed dating trading systems. At the end of the day, like 1 week they're trading breakouts, the next they're on Fibonacci, and then they're on ICT and smart money concepts, and next week they're trading some guy's secret indicator that looks like a Christmas tree threw up all over the freaking chart, right? And the whole time they're thinking, if I just find the right system, everything's going to work. But what they don't realize is they're only seeing the surface, right? They're seeing the strategy, sure. You don't know if that person's a profitable trader. You want me to Photoshop a fucking $1 million P&L and go rent a Lambo and sit in? I can do that, right? There are some real traders out there. I'm not saying everyone who makes YouTube videos is a fake because they're not, right? They're not. But a lot of them are. But the ones who are real, what you're not seeing is the thinking. You're not seeing the experience that it took them to come up with that strategy. You're not seeing the thousands of little decisions that sit underneath that system. You're not seeing it. It's like watching, look, my Timberwolves, right? My favorite NBA player is Anthony Edwards. It's like watching Anthony Edwards shoot a three-pointer and thinking, oh, that looks easy, right? It looks easy because the guy has shot the exact same shot about 50,000, 500,000 times over and over and over again. The same thing happens in trading. You might see someone mark 3 levels on a chart in a couple minutes, right? Like I trade live in Discord with guys, right? And I'm not around a signals group. I'm not telling people what to do. I'm just doing what I do, right? Every day. And I might make it look easy, right? I might make it look stupidly simple. And you're like, that's it? That's the system? 3 lines? And I know a lot of you guys right now who are newer in Discord have been struggling for a while see this and know what I'm talking about. That's the system, 3 lines. But what you don't see is the 10,000 hours behind those 3 lines, knowing which ones matter, knowing which one doesn't, knowing what environment or regime that you're trading in, knowing when the market is tradable and when it's not, when to stand down. That's the difference between simple and refined. And I think it's normal because I did this too. At the beginning, I chased complexity. I gravitated toward complexity because I thought trading was complicated. It's not. I'm complicated. We're complicated. I have paid indicators. I have lifetime subscriptions. I think like $10,000 worth of paid indicators that I just sit on my trading. I don't have them on my screen, but they're in my, we can go to indicators and check them. They're there. And it's just a reminder of who I used to be, right? I think it's normal for beginners to do these things, to chase complexity, to copy systems because you don't know any different, right? But professionals remove noise. That's what professionals do at the end of the day. Almost every, even halfway decent trader that I know went through this same evolution. They did. Look, at the beginning, my chart looked like a NASA freaking control panel, like I was trying to launch spaceships into outer space. Matter of fact, I bet you my chart had more shit on my screen than a NASA computer does during a rocket launch. That's what it looked like at the beginning, because I thought that I needed all this stuff in order to be a successful trader, because that's what everyone tells me, right? That's what everyone says. That's what all the talking heads on YouTube said. I need this indicator. I need that indicator. Indicators everywhere, right? And then it was just stacking like more fibs, moving averages, oscillators, profiles, news feeds, Twitter open on the side. I had more signals than a fucking airport runway, right? I did. And NASA launching rockets into space. But something interesting started happening, right? Once I started to really kind of understand the game a little bit, I started deleting things just one by one, until eventually my chart now looks almost empty. I think the only thing, I know, the only thing that I have on my charts, and guys, any of the guys this, or come and freaking watch what I do in the morning, every morning in Discord, EWAP. And that's just like a fair value anchor for me, right? And that's not like, yeah, that's all it is. My chart looks empty now, right? My levels, I have my confirmation, like that's it. From the outside, it does look incredibly simple. For someone who is just, if a brand new trader joined and just looked at it, they'd be like, wait, what? This is it? But everyone else's chart looks like a Christmas tree threw up all over the screen. But that simplicity, the simplicity that I bring in my experience with my strategy, in my edge to my charts, it's just compressed experience. That's all it is. And the funny part is, once you reach that stage, man, trading starts to look boring. I yearn for the days where I was like chasing indicators and learning a new thing and putting a puzzle together, because that was fun. It is fun to learn new stuff, right? Or to chase and constantly put together a puzzle that is the markets at the end of the day. But trading actually starts to look boring once you reach that stage, and that's how it should be, right? I map the battlefield, as I like to say, and then I wait, and then either my setup happens or it doesn't. Do I still occasionally mess up? And I think maybe we'll get into this a little bit. Of course, I'm human. I have my weak moments. I have days where I'm not feeling 100%, and I make boneheaded moves. I did today. I took a trade I just absolutely should not have took, right? But I am 99% better than I was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I'm better this week than I was a year ago. A lot less of that happens these days than it used to. Either the setup happens or it doesn't. No forcing. I'm not chasing wiggles anymore. It's just patience. And that's where we loop all the way back to risk again. Because at the end of the day, trading isn't about predicting the future. It's not about being right. We've said that. You are not a trader. You are a risk manager who happens to trade. It's about managing exposure. I don't need to be right all the time. I don't. I just need to make sure that when I'm wrong, it doesn't destroy you. And I'm losing the quote. Who was it? Richard Dennis? Somebody said, trading is about, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about how much money do you lose when you lose, and how much do you win when you win. And when you're right, you let the trade actually work. When you're wrong, cut it. Small losses. Wins, give them a chance. Allow them to expand, right? Let them hit your target. Take profits at your target. That's the whole thing at the end of the day, right? Proper risk management. And it's funny when you really think about it, because when you really boil trading down to what it is at its core and its most basic and most general, just whittle it down. What is it? It's a mirror. All trading is a mirror. And that's the scary part. And that's the part that most traders don't want to actually face. Trading is a mirror. It shows you exactly who you are. If you're impatient, the market's just going to expose it. If you're impulsive, the market will expose it. If you hate being wrong, and boy, did I hate being wrong, the market's going to torture you. Do you know what I did because I hated being wrong? No stop losses, wide stop losses, 20% drawdown, huge. But I had to come to an understanding with the market that, hey, Mr. Market or Miss Market, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, maybe it's a girl because it's 1 minute it's up, 1 minute it's down. It's like my wife, but hopefully she doesn't watch this. The market doesn't care about my opinion, and I'm joking. I'm joking, ladies. The market doesn't care about what I think, how I feel that day, it doesn't care about that. It doesn't care about my ego. It just reflects my behavior back to me. That's all it does. And most people aren't ready for that. Or when they face that, they have a break. They break down, which I think is why most traders quit. Not because they couldn't find a strategy. The strategy is almost never the issue. It's never entries. It's you. Because fixing the behavior was harder than finding another indicator. That's what it is, right? It's easier to just blame something, blame the market maker, or look for something else, right? Well, it's not this. I mean, I tried this for a couple weeks and it's not working. So what do? I find another indicator. Fixing that behavior was harder than finding another indicator at the end of the day. I mentioned that I had a bad couple of weeks, and I have. I'll share you my journal here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's go ahead and just get it up. Boom. This is the last 2 weeks, 4 trades, technically 5 trades. I'm about the round trip, the trade of a life. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even want to talk about it. Like I'm in a trade, macro swing trade, sized up in it. It went way down. I'm still treating it like a swing trade. There's still a chance. I have my plan. I'm sticking to my plan. I'm probably going to end up round tripping it. So it's not like I lost a shitload of money this week. Did I lose some money? Yes. In the last 2 weeks. Have I completely destroyed myself? No. I mean, you can see my P&Ls here. So I lost like $2,800 and I made $2,600. So I'm down like $200 overall. And if I lose this Bitcoin, this IBIT trade that I'm in, then I'm going to lose even more, right? But notice they're controlled losses. Now, what's the difference between some like weeks like this and weeks where I win? The wins are bigger. That's my whole point here. So let's talk about bad weeks for a second. Let's talk about it. So most traders have this fantasy that once you figure it out, you just stop losing. And I've had way worse weeks than this, and I've had way better weeks, right? This is just how my last 2 weeks have gone. Like there's a fantasy out there, and I had it too, that you just stop losing, right? That you just figure it out. And I'm telling you, I will go on incredible. I will crush it for 2 or 3 weeks straight. I just got off of one of those. Everything was lining up and hitting perfectly, right? And I think that's when I first started, what I thought it would be like. There's all the time. That's what it's like, right? And then I'll have the opposite of it. I'll have weeks where it's just terrible. This isn't terrible, but I'm in a losing couple of weeks. Last couple of weeks haven't been very productive for me in this way, right? But they've been productive for me in other ways. I've stuck to discipline. I've been still managing my risk. I'm not blowing losses. I'm not blowing up my account, right? I think I thought the moment I became profitable, the market suddenly respects me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like the market is sitting there going, oh, wow, Ben finally understands liquidity sweeps. So let's behave today, right? That's what I thought. No, the market will absolutely slap you in the face at times. And it seems to have a habit of reminding me. It's weird. It's like when I break one of my rules, when I slip up, the market has a funny way of being like, hey man, let's get you back on track. Here's a little smack on the ass. Right? Like when I stick my finger in that light socket's going to remind me to not do that. That's part of the deal. The market will absolutely slap you in the face sometimes. But here's what kind of cracks me up a little bit. New traders experience one bad week and immediately start acting like they're in a financial apocalypse. That it's like their entire career just died. It just ended, right? And I see it in how I talk to traders and when I talk to them in the comments when I'm live on live stream. I think I lost my edge, or I can't find my edge. Like, brother, you've been here for 2 years and you don't have an edge yet. It's time to hang up the towel. You've been trying every day for 2 years and you don't have an edge. You haven't been listening to anything that I've been saying. Right? My strategy stopped working. My life is over. Brother, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Relax. You've had a bad week or two. That shouldn't be a crisis if you're risking properly. That's called trading. People treat a drawdown like they're just got diagnosed with terminal cancer. Do you know what I mean? Meanwhile, professional traders it's just bad. It's raining. It's raining today. Right? It's raining this week. It's shitty weather this week. Cool. So you grab a jacket. You don't set your whole house on fire. But that's what traders do. That's what they do. And if you don't know that's what they do, I'm here to tell you that's what they do because I've been around traders for a long time. Right? They take a couple losses or have a bad week or two, and suddenly they turn into that guy at the blackjack table trying to win his mortgage payment back. You ever watch Gamblers Spiral? It's the exact same psychology. There is no difference. You can't tell me a difference. If you put a gambler addict and a trading addict in the same room, they're going to sound the exact same. It's the exact same psychology. At first, maybe they're calm, or maybe they get some beginner's luck at the beginning, right? Okay, I lost that hand. You know what I mean? I lost that hand. Then that second loss hits, right? Now what are they doing? They're leaning forward, right? Now there's some sweat coming down, right? By the third loss, what are they doing? They're talking to the cards, right? Have you guys ever seen this? You ever been in a casino and seen this or watch poker players, right? You got to turn it around here, buddy. We got to get this going, right? That's traders. What's the difference? Spot the difference between a gambling addict and a trader who's a trading addict. And there is a difference between a risk manager who trades and a trading addict, right? 3 red trades and suddenly they're negotiating with the chart like it's a hostage situation. Come on, man, just bounce a little bit here, right? indicator some guy sold you for $500 called something like the Quantum Omega Signal Oscillator Matrix 3000. You know what I mean? Like, which by the way, always comes with the same marketing line. Always comes. You ever notice this? That all these guys talking about their strategies and their indicators they're trying to sell you, the same line. This strategy or indicator has a 93% win rate. You ever notice that? Okay, buddy, if it had a 93% win rate, you would not be selling the indicator on Instagram. You'd be on a boat somewhere ignoring humanity. But beginners collect tools like survivalists collect canned food. This is how it goes. And then something funny happens after. It took me probably like 2.5 years really to kind of like just cut through the bullshit and noise. A lot longer. I wish I really would have found someone that could have held my hand and walked me through it. I wish I would have listened more to the traders who came before us. I really do. I honestly thought the markets had changed, and they have changed. Yes, we have high frequency trading now. We have trading view now. Well, human behavior hasn't changed. Human behavior is the same as it was back in the 1900s when Jesse Livermore traded. It is now. But something funny happens after a few years of screen time. You start realizing that most of the stuff, it's just noise and it doesn't help you. And actually it hurts you. So what did I start doing? Delete one thing after another. Until eventually the chart, it's empty. My chart's empty now, which is funny because beginners see that and they think, if that can't be. And they make fun of it. They make fun of like two little areas, 2 lines on a chart. and an idea. They make fun of it. They're like, wait, what's this? Where's the indicators to use? I get asked that all the time on live stream. Like, what do you mean? I don't use any indicators. But what they don't see is the 10,000 hours behind that simplicity, the blood, the sweat, the tears. Because marking levels in 2 minutes only works if you already know and understand what matters. Which levels are real? Which levels are noise? And I can tell you, right? I can literally tell you exactly what to do. I can, and I do. I mentor people, and I tell them, do this, mark this out, mark that out, mark this out, mark that out. We have free courses. I'll tell you, I'll show you what to do. You'll still fuck it up, right? Because which ones are real? Which ones are noise? Which ones matter? Which ones don't? What kind of an environment are you trading in? Is it even worth it? Holding risk today, or even taking a long or a short? Is the regime? Is the market even tradable that day? Is it even worth it? Is it FOMC day? Is it even worth it? Is it even worth holding risk? Is it liquidity? Is it momentum? Are those decisions happen? They're happening instantly in my head now, right? Is this real? Is it not real? What am I looking for? They're instantly happening in my head. Now, I mentioned this before in Discord. I don't think I've ever done it. Maybe I have on a previous podcast, but we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about Epstein because he was doing an interview with Bannon that they just released, right? It was like a 2-hour-long interview with Steve Bannon. And he said something along the lines of, some of the smartest traders that I know have an intuition. Bannon said, they just feel it. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's someone talking about trading who doesn't understand trading. There's no such thing as intuition. There's just thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of reps on the same thing, looking at the same charts, the same session, the same time, the same levels, the same entry, the same strategy, the same market environments, over and over and over again, to where now those decisions are happening instantly in that trader's, in my head, right? So when Epstein was talking to Bannon and he said, they just feel it's in their gut. No, they don't. No. They've just seen that same thing 1,000 times, 10,000 times, right? But just to someone watching, it looks like nothing, right? It's like watching a professional chef cook. It is, right? You ever see a professional chef in a kitchen? Like a real professional, like a Michelin star chef, right? They're calm. They're moving slow. Everything, they make it look so easy. Meanwhile, if you tried to cook the same way in your kitchen, it would look like a freaking crime scene. I know, because I've tried, right? It's bullshit, sauce everywhere, pans burning, smoke alarms going off. That's the difference between simple and refined. Simple at the beginning means you don't know anything. Simple at the end means you've removed everything unnecessary at the end of the day. That's what it means. That's what it boils down to for refinement. Honestly, this matches something I talk a lot about when it comes to trading systems, right? Edge is subtractive. Edge is usually improved through subtraction and not addition. You don't need more shit. You don't need another YouTube video. You don't need another indicator, right? Most traders are trying to add edge. They're trying to add tools. They're trying to add strategy, add indicators. Well, it just doesn't work on Robinhood stocks. Let me go try options on this. Let me go try to trade futures on NQ or something, right? But professionals, man, they just remove noise. And I think eventually you're going to realize this. You're going to realize that only a few things actually matter at the end of the day. For me, that eventually boiled down to something pretty straightforward. Levels, where liquidity sits, where decisions are made, where traders are trapped, then a sweep. Did a market actually run stops? Did it grab liquidity, then confirmation, where full delta? Seeing what traders are actually trapped there, that takes me like freaking a second to figure out now. It didn't used to. My systems is way more complicated, and that probably sounds complicated to you, but it's not, and it takes me a second to do. A second. A lot of people, when I'm live streaming, they'll see me mark out some levels and come up with an idea on these levels, and people will say, you're a support and resistance trader. Like, brother, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're probably taking ICT's courses or trading some other dribble. You're obviously not profitable because you wouldn't be talking like that. Not only that, but hurt people. You wouldn't be in some grown men don't go into other grown men's channels and talk shit. No, I'm not trading trend lines. What I'm trading is retail behavior in obvious areas, and I'm trading against them. That's really what I'm doing. I'm trading behavior. The same thing that Jesse Livermore did in the 1900s without TradingView, mind you, with a ticker machine printing out transactions in volume, and that's it. And he saw the same thing over a century ago that I still trade and see today. Because sure, we have charts now. There's high frequency trading algorithms. There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot of noise now. But human behavior has never changed, right? And then, do we move or does it stall out? That's basically it. Levels, sweep, confirmation, that's it. And from the outside, I know that looks almost stupidly simple. And I know it can seem like I make it look simple. But again, that simplicity, that's just compressed experience. It's thousands and thousands of hours watching the same thing in the same trading session on the same levels. It's over and over and over again, right? It's the same behavior repeating thousands of times. It's just pattern recognition. It's context. It's knowing when something matters and when it doesn't. And the funny part is when you finally reach that stage, again, what does trading get? Boring, as it should, which is the opposite of what beginners expect, because beginners think professional trading looks exciting, action all day, right? Constant trades, adrenaline. But the real trading is mostly waiting. It's not the New York Stock Exchange floor, right? Mark my levels, watch the market, enter if the setup's there or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, guess what? I just go live my life, which sounds insane to a beginner. It does, because beginners think every candle is opportunity. Yeah, the market offers infinite opportunity. But the trap is thinking everyone is for you or trying to catch everyone. Every little wiggle in price feels like something that they need to participate in. Meanwhile, professionals are ignoring like 90%, probably even more of what the market does. Just watching, just waiting, because the system's refined, right? You're not reacting to everything. You're waiting for the environment where the edge actually exists, where it's higher probability, which is why trading eventually, it should never be about prediction, but it becomes even less, right? And more just about filtering, which is the harder part, because you got to filter noise, filter bad environments, filter low quality setups. And when you combine that with proper risk management, brothers and sisters, something very interesting happens, right? Bad weeks, they stop mattering as much because you're not forcing trades. You're not oversizing. You're not reacting emotionally to every single little wiggle in price. You're not chasing green. You're not chasing red. You're not FOMO. You're not greed. Or maybe you feel those things, but your system and your risk, don't let them hurt. And again, this comes right back to risk at the end of the day, because when your system is refined, you're naturally trading less. Might hurt some feelings here. There are some people out there who are taking 3, 4, 5 trades a day, and then they lose 2 or 3 of them. Why? You need 1 good trade a day. Why 4 B trades, not 1 A sized up trade? You naturally trade less when your system is refined. I'm naturally taking fewer trades. And when you take fewer trades, each one matters more. But it only matters more if risk is defined, if it's controlled. Because at the end of the day, trading isn't about being right all the time. It's about surviving long enough for the edge to play out and for the entry school math to just work. When you strip all this down, what trading really comes back to is something that sounds almost too simple. Risk, not prediction. Not being right, risk. And this is where most traders get the whole entire game backwards. Because everybody comes into trading thinking the job is to be right. People obsess over win rate. They obsess over it. They want to be the guy calling every single move right. They want to post on Twitter, the perfect trade. But the truth is, everyone loses. Everyone. Professional traders lose all the time. The difference is professional traders lose small. That's it. That's the big secret nobody wants to hear, because it's not exciting. But bad traders, lose small once, then they lose medium, then they lose large. Then suddenly what are they doing? They're having what I call a career-ending afternoon. They're getting in their feelings. You ever watch that happen? A trader has 2 losing trades, and suddenly they turn into a completely different human being. Now the position
U bent een Israël-hater.
This dunya breaks me. Allah heals me.
There's a little boy in Gaza right now.
The only way to survive this world of evil is to recognize that beauty is everywhere around us. And it's our responsibility to discover.
Skip my friend. Go to someone who doesn't need you. And skip us.
I don't just talk, I do it. Say what I mean and prove it. Stand on 10, no fluking. Straight in the field, no moving. I don't just talk, I do it.
Are you coming to the tree where I told you to run?
Did you see those tweets? Did you see those tweets that went viral like over the past couple of days that said you had an OnlyFans?
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Not true.
No. I don't think I could ever do OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so weird to say. You got to have something to sell before you can get on there. I'm nothing but back. So, I mean, they can leave me out of that shit.
So, like, it's crazy because that tweet went viral.
Yeah, people expect me to turn around and do that. Like, after everything's ended and, you know, nobody wants to see me on the internet no more, they expect me to just jump on OnlyFans, make a quick buck, and be done with everything. I don't want to do that
But
at
they
all.
don't know that you're a true American and
Yeah.
you're down to go back to the Spring Factory.
I'm so okay with that. Like, you just don't even understand. I had so much fun going to work.
Did you see those tweets that went viral like over the past couple of days?
I've just been told I could be arrested because I've exposed to you guys the damage that Iran has caused to Israel during their war in this last week. Specifically, in response to the videos I've made showing the damage to Israel, Tel Aviv, etc., I've been labelled an official, quote, national security threat to an ally. In fact, because of the videos I've made showing Israeli air defense systems failing and hitting Israel, I've also been accused of, quote, exposing national security secrets. For context, I could face 10 years in prison on that charge. Now, even though on that front I might be okay, Israel is still attacking me in other ways. 2 days ago, my TikTok account with over 300,000 followers that I put 3 years of work into bringing you guys unbiased news was banned. And it was banned because I exposed damage to Israel, because I'm a, quote, national security threat to an ally. I'm not joking, and TikTok was one of our last sources of income. TikTok pays you for the views you get, if you don't know, but now they've banned TikTok, I don't get that. And these videos...
And if the Iranian war goes on too much longer, the nation state of Israel itself might cease to exist. That is a distinct possibility.
This is the U.S.
If I were the Iranians,
what do the Chosens do every Friday? Shut down. They shut down and they what? They have dinner together. This is why they're winning.
Did this comb-over lobster-faced really bring the Prime Minister of Japan and some of her representatives and said this to them? You cannot make this up.
Why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe? And
why didn't you tell your allies about Iran?
About the war before attacking Iran? So
Islam has told them is that you can't touch a woman. So what they do is have little boys dance and dress like women, and so that they can play with them. So
I want to start with the New York Post reporting on this intelligence briefing that potentially the new Ayatollah of Iran is a gay man.
You know, it's not a secret in Iran.
যারা স্টুডেন্ট আছেন বা গৃহিণী আছেন বা পার্ট টাইম জব করতে চান তাদের জন্য কিন্তু অনলাইনে
in this zone you might see some sort of reaction to it. It could be anything, like right here it could be a retracement, it could be any. Let's wait for it to like go to the halfway through, maybe. That's it. If you draw like 30 minutes, okay, like from here to here, I guess. Then you might take a shot up here with the reaction. if you draw like 30 minutes. Oh, okay. Like from here to here, I guess. Then you might take a shot up here with the reaction. Oh, holy fuck. Twitch TV.
Baby diva, baby diva. Watch.
What should rely on NPT for their peaceful activities. It is very unfortunate that Israel is doing, as the German Chancellor called, a dirty job. And by the way, they supported that dirty job. It's a shame. They know that Israel is doing a dirty job and they support it and they give it every right to do it and they call it defending itself. It's really a shame. Pardon? Well, I think I'm not in a position to reveal what we are going to do in response to what Americans did last night. I just talked about the fact that NPT failed to protect Iran from and its peaceful nuclear program. And this is a serious challenge.
Next, we'd like to take a question from IRIB. IRIB, if I can get a question from IRIB.
Yılmaz Varlar, Türker Gazete, Türkiye Cumhuriyeti'nde çıkan gazete.
I'm from a Turkish newspaper and also
Sayın
representing
Bakan,
Net News Agency.
Çin'in İran'a destek verdiği söyleniyor.
It is indicated that China is supporting Iran.
Tarafından caydırıcı olmasını nasıl
How do you
değerlendiriyorsunuz?
evaluate its deterrence power vis-a-vis USA and Israel? And can we learn your expectations about your relations with the Russian Federation?
Well, there was a problem with the translation, or I think with the device, it doesn't work properly. I understood the last part of your question. Well, I'm going to Moscow this afternoon, and I have a meeting with President Putin tomorrow morning. Russia is a friend of Iran, and we enjoy a strategic partnership, and we always consult with each other and coordinate our positions. Russia has been a part and the participants of JCPOA, So they have been always a party to nuclear negotiations. And even in the past 2-3 months that we were negotiating with the United States, we always briefed our Russian friends about the latest about any progress or lack of progress in our talks. Well, I will.
Over Donald Trump.
So I was on a news blackout because I was on assignment. And I get back and I see that Trump's announced he's negotiating with the Iranians, and the Iranians said, no, we're not. And the U.S. media believe the Iranians. So it's like, all right. The Iranians do lie, guys. They said they had no intentions of building a nuclear weapon. They just last week said they sunk an aircraft carrier of ours. So obviously they're lying to look tough. And how would they know who's negotiating? The Israelis just killed one of the IRGC leaders who was living in a tent in the woods. I don't think the left hand knows what the right hand's doing, okay?
The blasting came after CNN aired a package where they were given access to Iran's underground missile cities.
An Iranian underground missile city buried deep inside a mountain. A show of force aimed at Iran's enemies. A contingency plan to protect its precious arsenal from being eradicated by massive bombardment.
সম্মানিত মাইলবাহী নগরবাসী, সবাইকে জানাচ্ছি পবিত্র
Here you might see some reaction. Okay. We can go along here, I guess.
This is the sound that chills the U.S. and Israel the most right now. It comes from Iran's widely used Shahed 136 drone. There's nothing high-tech about it, and it's even as cheap as $10,000. Yet this simple weapon...
Why the U.S. used B-2 bombers instead of fighter jets against Iran? When the U.S. military strikes a target, they usually send in fast fighter jets. But in recent attacks, the U.S. actually used massive B-2 stealth bombers. Now, you might be wondering why they flew these huge planes for 37 hours straight instead of using normal jets. Well, it's actually because of where the targets were located. You see, Iran built its nuclear sites deep inside solid mountains, and the bunkers are buried hundreds of feet underground. Regular bombs dropped by fighter jets cannot reach them. They just explode on the surface. To destroy these hidden bases, the military had to use a special weapon called a bunker buster. These bombs are absolutely massive and weigh 30,000 pounds because they have to drill through solid rock before exploding. A regular fighter jet is simply too small to carry something that heavy. But the B-2 bomber is huge. It is currently the only aircraft in the world capable of dropping this giant weapon. And because of its flat design, the bomber is completely invisible to radar. Why the U.S. used B-2 bombers instead of fighter jets against Iran. When the U.S. military strikes a target, they usually send in fast fighter jets. But in recent attacks, the U.S. actually used massive B-2 stealth bombers. Now, you might be wondering why they flew these huge planes for 37 hours straight instead of using normal jets. Well, it's actually because of where the targets were located. You see, Iran built its nuclear sites deep inside solid mountains, and the bunkers are buried hundreds of feet underground. Regular bombs dropped by fighter jets cannot reach them. They just explode on the surface. To destroy these hidden bases, the military had to use a special weapon called a bunker buster. These bombs are absolutely massive and weigh 30,000 pounds because they have to drill through solid rock before exploding. A regular fighter jet is simply too small to carry something that heavy. But the B-2 bomber is huge. It is currently the only aircraft in the world capable of dropping this giant weapon. And because of its flat design, the bomber is completely invisible to radar. Why the U.S. used B-2 bombers instead of fighter jets against Iran. When the U.S. military strikes a target, they usually send in fast fighter jets. But in recent attacks, the U.S. actually used massive B-2 stealth bombers. Now, you might be wondering why they flew these huge planes for 37 hours straight instead of using normal jets. Well, it's actually because of where the targets were located. You see, Iran built its nuclear sites deep.
First, Trump said the war would be over in 4 to 5 weeks. Okay, that was 3 weeks ago. Since then, Trump has said all of these things. The war is won. The U.S. still needs to finish the job. The operations could end soon. The military may need to go further. Every hour, the Trump administration's justification for this war sounds completely different. Why did the U.S. strike Iran? On March 2nd, Pete Hegg.
The airplane drawings that Iran drew on the ground severely damaged the prestige of countries that consider themselves superpowers. What they boasted about achieving was all promised painted concrete. The Persians wasted millions of dollars that had been promised to them. But according to one account, that money wasn't even promised. Because promised money doesn't go to waste. Yeah. The airplane drawings that Iran drew on the ground severely damaged the prestige of countries that consider themselves superpowers. What they boasted about achieving was all promised painted concrete. The Persians wasted millions of dollars that had been promised to them. But according to one account, that money wasn't even promised. Because promised money doesn't go to waste. Yeah.
What language we use about China? Are you a competitor? Are you an ally? Are you a threat? How would you regard your relationship with Britain?
First of all, between China and Britain, from the Chinese perspective, Britain is not a rival, is not.
They came to us and said, building one road will take 10 years. 10 years, just for one road. And before the work could even begin, they said 3 years would be needed only to clear the land. They said it with confidence, as if Africa must always wait. But I asked myself one question: why should we wait? So instead of signing another expensive contract, we bought the machines ourselves, and we gave them to our own engineers, our own people. And those men did not spend months writing reports. They did not wait for foreign approval. They simply started working, day and night. And in just 52 days, 332 kilometers of land had already been cleared. No 10-year timeline, no inflated contracts, no middlemen flying.
If Iran is weaker, why isn't it losing? Everyone keeps saying Iran is getting hit. So then why does it still hit back? You're analyzing the wrong battlefield. This isn't.
Director Gabbard, you said that North Korea has intercontinental ballistic missiles that can reach the homeland. Yet, the Defense Department said that Iran was at least 10 years away. Which one is a more serious threat, North Korea or Iran? That's my point. It's not just about having the capability of building a weapon. It's if they can actually deliver that weapon. We haven't heard that they were weeks away. We haven't heard that they're months away. That's what we're waiting for. Imminent, to me, means is that they're mobilizing troops. They're moving things into position. But everything that we've heard is that this is not the case. Director Gabbard, you said that North Korea has intercontinental ballistic.
Do you know why the U.S. has never sold the B-2 bomber, even if someone offered tens of billions?
The man avoided the company's surveillance cameras, then used a small knife to cut off a short section of a balloon near the air vent. He slipped it onto the ventilation pipe, leaving only a small nozzle-sized opening for control. Next, he inserted a soft tube he had prepared in advance, securing the joint between the nozzle and the tube with tape. Just like that, a trap to deal with the boss was set up. The other end of the tube was connected directly to the boss's private restroom. To lure the boss...
Beat me up in front of the cameras because I'm a woman.
Why should I beat you up?
Bring up your women. They will speak up who you are.
Well, don't worry, they can...
This little girl had no idea someone...
Stop chasing the candles.
Director
Stop chasing the candles. You missed the move, but your ego wants in.
Director Gabbard, last year you testified that...
This is a Tomahawk cruise missile. Costs around $2.5 million a pop, and we launched 400 of these at Iran over 72 hours of Operation Epic Fury. That's $1 billion paid by us to Raytheon, blown up in 3 days. And here's what we accomplished. On day one of the U.S.-Israeli war in Iran, February 28th, we blew up a school.
Why don't the Americans know this? Why did they prepare? But this makes no sense. You know the Iranians have drones. Each of these drones costs $50,000. And one of these drones, again, can knock out a desalination plant, it can knock out an oil field, it can knock out a hotel, it can do a lot of damage. And how do the Americans defend against this? They use something called the THAAD, Thermal High Altitude Air Defense. This missile, guys, costs $1 million. So there's this $50,000 drone coming your way, and you throw a $1 million missile at it, okay? And often these missiles miss, so you have to throw 2 or 3 missiles at it, okay? So you're spending $2 to $3 million on each $50,000 that the Iranians spend. That's kind of silly. These weapon systems are designed to scare the crap out of you. They're designed to impress you. And as a result, they cost a lot of money, they really don't do anything. So that's the entire American military. It costs a lot, and it doesn't really do anything. Why don't the Americans know this? Why did they prepare? But this makes no sense. You know the Iranians have drones. Each of these drones costs $50,000. And one of these drones, again, can knock out a desalination plant, it can knock out an oil field, it can knock out a hotel, it can do a lot of damage. And how do the Americans defend against this? They use something called the THAAD, Thermal High Altitude Air Defense. This missile, guys, costs $1 million. So there's this $50,000 drone coming your way, and you throw a $1 million missile at it, okay? And often these missiles miss, so you have to throw 2 or 3 missiles at it, okay? So you're spending $2 to $3 million on each $50,000 that the Iranians spend. That's kind of silly. These weapon systems are designed to scare the crap out of you. They're designed to impress you. And as a result, they cost a lot of money, they really don't do anything. So that's the entire American military. It costs a lot, and it doesn't really do anything. Why don't the Americans know this? Why did they prepare? But this makes no sense. You know the Iranians have drones. Each of these drones costs $50,000.
Victor, who do you want to fight, and who do you want to win against?
China's defense is not for fighting anyone, except those who want to invade China. China's military spending is for peace, rather than war, and war will be forced upon China, and China need to fight back.
You say it's for peace, but your neighbors don't agree. Your neighbors are pretty worried about you. India is worried about China on its border.
India is a great nation, and there is a territorial dispute between China and India, but that dispute was not created by China. Neither was it created by India. It was created or left behind by the British Indian government.
That's a great history lesson. Victor, who do you want to fight, and who do you want to win against?
China's defense is not for fighting anyone, except those who want to invade China. China's military spending is for peace, rather than war, and war will be forced upon China, and China need to fight back.
You say it's for peace, but your neighbors don't agree. Your neighbors are pretty worried about you. India is worried about China on its border.
India is a great nation, and there is a territorial dispute between China and India, but that dispute was not created.
What was that? What was that?
No, you're evading a question because to provide a candid response to the committee would contradict a statement from the White House. As a result of last summer's airstrikes, quote, Iran's nuclear enrichment program.
Iran's being trolled.
For the first time in history.
Here we're looking at the New York
This range helps me position before the market even opens. Let me show you how I use the 8 a.m. opening range to get in early instead of chasing after the move starts. Before New York opens, I mark the 15-minute 8 a.m. opening range. That gives me the early structure for the session. And while I'm using
Iran was negotiating.
this range helps me position before the market even opens. Let me show you how I use the 8 a.m. opening range to get in early instead of chasing after the move starts. Before New York opens, I mark the 15-minute 8 a.m. opening range. That gives me the early structure for the session. And while I'm using the 8 a.m. range here, the same behavior shows up in most ranges across the chart. Right here, price pushes up and then comes back down into the bottom side of the range. This is where I'm paying attention because I'm not chasing the move. I'm watching how price reacts at key levels. As you can see, price comes up and tests that level from below. Now this is important. If price was strong, it should break back inside and hold, but instead it starts
We have a profoundly important announcement to make, which is the most epic shipbuilding exercise in history by far. This is really going to take things to the next level. So, yeah, a level probably people aren't even contemplating right now. This is not in the, I would call this sort of an out of context problem. It's not in their context. So we're going to adjust the context by a few orders of magnitude here. Let's see. It's a joint effort. I'm pressing the button, but the button's not working. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, we aspire to be a galactic civilization. So I think the future that everyone, or most people, I think, would agree is the most exciting is one where we are out there among the stars, where we are not forever confined to one planet, that we become a multi-planet species, like the best science fiction that you've ever read. Star Trek, or Ian Banks, or Asimov, or Heinlein. And we want to make that real. Yeah, not just fiction. Turn science fiction to science fact. That's the glorious, exciting future that I certainly look forward to. And it's worth considering, like, how would you rate civilizations? You know, there was a physicist, I think it was Russian, in the 60s, Kardashev. He thought about, at a high level, how would you consider any given civilization? And he said, if you're type 1, you're using most of the energy of your planet. And we actually still have quite a ways to go to be properly a type 1. We're still using a tiny fraction of the sun's energy that reaches our planet. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. But the Earth only receives about 0.5 billionth of the sun's energy. So the sun is truly enormous. The sun is 99.8% of all mass in the solar system. So sometimes people will ask me, like, what about other power sources of power on Earth? What about fusion on Earth? That is unfortunately very small because the sun is 99.8% of mass in the solar system. And Jupiter is about 0.1%, and Earth is in the miscellaneous category. We are, I think it's Carl Sagan, I think might have said, Earth is like a tiny dust mote in a vast darkness. Very, very small. The sun is enormous. So the way to actually scale civilization is to scale power in space. This is necessarily true because we actually capture such a tiny amount of the sun's energy on Earth because we're just this tiny dust mote. Another way to think of it is roughly like electricity production on Earth of all of civilization is only about 1/trillionth of the sun's energy. Which means if you increase civilizational power output by 1,000,000, you would still only be 1/millionth of the sun's energy. It's awe-inspiring to consider that, just how tiny we are in the grand scheme of things. And we often get caught up in these sort of squabbles on Earth that are really very minor things when you consider the grandness of the universe. And so I think it is important, actually, to consider the grandness of the universe and what we can do that is much greater than what we've done before, as opposed to worry about sort of small squabbles on Earth type of thing. Not much point in that. Yeah, we want to be a civilization that expands to the galaxy with spaceships that anyone can go anywhere they want at any time. That would be epic. And have a city on the moon, cities on Mars, populate the solar system, and send spaceships to other star systems. That sounds like the best possible future. So to do that, we need to harness the power of the sun. And so a terafab, while it is enormous, a terawatt of compute per year is enormous by our sort of civilizational standards, it is still just one step along the way of being even a Carter ship. You still have a long way to go to even be a Carter ship 2 level civilization, and you're not even registering as a Carter ship 3. So it's a very big thing by current human standards, but still small in the grand scheme. And it's very difficult for humans. So to accomplish this very difficult goal really requires a combination of efforts of SpaceX, XAI, and Tesla working together to create this epic terafab project. And Tesla and XAI and SpaceX have all done amazing things that people did not think would be done before. So there's a Giga Texas fab here. There's the Optimus robot that's being built. There's a global supercharging network.